Bobby's podcast, WATP.
Today, we'll be reviewing a show called Tigerbelly, and their guest was Leslie Jones. And that's really what I want to get into here. But before we get into the Leslie Jones stuff, the beginning of the show, there's a thing that happens on these West Coast podcasts, comedy podcasts. You see it on all these shows where they have producers that are off mic somewhere in the room, and they crack up laughing at the least funny things. It's like they figured out on the West Coast, they're like, oh yeah, we're the sitcom people. Let's do a laugh track on the show to tell people when to laugh. So here's an example of that.
Did you just get Joe?
He'll be coming.
Is he?
That's
Tell him I said hi.
Okay, do you know him?
So Bobby Lee gives a look over. They're like, oh, pretty good stuff.
Yeah, when Leslie Jones got there was a doorbell sound effect. Who could that be?
Yeah, that's the Howard Stern move now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, he's constantly, there's a knock on the door, and then he has to let in the impressionist who acts like they're Alex Jones or whoever they're doing.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the laughing in the background. I mean, it worked, back in the day with Jackie the Joke Man, he would laugh at his own jokes.
Sure.
For some reason that worked. But just, all these podcasts are doing the same thing. There's always producers.
Well, it works if you're laughing at something that's funny. Then it makes a little more sense. Because I watch these things with Bert Kreischer and some of these shows where they're not even saying things funny. Maybe they're making a face or something. People are losing their minds over it. Your old buddy used to work on that show. Losing his mind in the background.
Oh, the human laugh track.
Yes. But anyway, I was listening to that and I go, maybe this would enhance my buddy Jim's show. And I thought I'd show you an example of how maybe if you got some producers in the room while you're recording your show.
How well can a song title encompass your personality type? Do your best in the comments below. And then what they put after how well can a song title encompass your personality type? ? Then they put like a smiley face with like his hand on his chin like he's thinking. Is that what a question mark means? Like it's a question? Oh. And then, the sentence means, you have to think about it. Oh. Well, it's good that he put that fucking yellow thing there.
I mean, I'm just saying. It sounds organic and natural.
Holy shit, I could get signed by Podcast One, maybe.
Probably, yeah.
If I had that laugh track, I didn't know.
You couldn't even tell it was the exact same laugh the entire, all three times there.
Just a little sweetener, baby. That's all you need.
That's all you need right there. All right. And then one more thing I want to point out before we get into the Leslie Jones. That's really the main thing I want to talk about in this, how awful Leslie Jones is as a person. Also as a comic, but as a person mostly. So, Kaila and Bobby were dating when they started the show. And then they broke up. And Khalyla dumped Bobby Lee. And so they have a really weird dynamic ever since then. And I don't know if this is fake or not. It's hard to tell. A lot of these shows, a lot of this stuff is fake that they're doing. But this seems like a very unhealthy relationship between these two.
What are you going to ask me?
This is what you do that hurts my feelings, and I just have to get it off my chest. When you're having a particularly difficult week, like I'm on speed dial. Like you are like, help me. You call me 6-7 times in like a span of an hour. You dump like trauma dump on me. And then you're like, I miss you. I love you. I can't live without you. And then you're like, I'm going to see you tomorrow. Are you going to be around tomorrow? And then tomorrow comes and then crickets. And you don't even call to say like, oh, I'm not coming over anymore to see the dogs. I just don't hear from you. And it hurts me.
I'm sorry.
Because you're like, we're going to watch movies together.
I said that?
Yeah.
We didn't watch one?
We didn't.
In your...
I don't know that you should be co-hosting a show with your ex.
If there was ever a clip that needed that laugh track, that was it.
Yeah, no shit. That would have helped a lot. I mean, is that real? Is that an actual conversation they're having?
I think so.
I thought
think
so
is.
too.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the mark on this show and be duped by everyone.
Yeah, no, Bobby's a great guy. Know him.
He is.
He's a little crazy, so I could see him sending these crazy texts, and the next day, I didn't even remember saying because he said, "Did we watch a movie?" He's like, "No."
Yeah, right.
He doesn't.
And then he goes on to say, like, we could have just pretended that we did watch a movie. Just make it up in your mind that we did, and then it'll be fine.
Yeah, this interaction really made me like Bobby because he's doing a show, and if this is accurate, if this is real, she just dumped a lot of shit on him.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell, this is like a therapy session level shit. and he just goes into a bit about, let's pretend we saw a movie together.
Right.
It was
He
Fast and
saved
Furious
it.
90.
Yeah.
And he tap danced his way out of this shit because they're having a guest on the show.
Yeah, Khalyla's not great.
She's the worst.
There's some people on a subreddit who think she's not very good at podcasting.
I've never watched an episode of this before, and
Yeah.
I only heard of her through your show, through this show, and I was not impressed. And I was like, God damn, Bobby is working really hard to keep this funny.
Yeah, so he does a good job of doing that. Now, they bring in Leslie Jones, and Leslie talks about this a few times throughout the interview. Her brother died, and she feels really bad about it because her brother was living with her, and she eventually kicked him out. And she alludes that he was homeless or something, and then they found him dead in a park or something. She's very upset about this happening. This happened many years ago, but she's still upset about it. And Khalyla's not reading the room well. This is a very inappropriate time to laugh. And of course, everyone goes along with Khalyla, but no one else would have laughed if she hadn't started this.
Do you remember what year that was?
No, but you weren't on SNL yet.
Because it had to be in my getting over my brother years, because at that point, I didn't give a fuck about nobody's life.
What do you mean?
I mean, my brother had died. That was the last of my family. And I was just like, I'm about to die too, so fuck everybody.
All right, well, Bobby's like, okay, I'm sorry, what do you mean? Before we all start laughing hysterically about your brother dying, let me just check in and see if that was, that's a real thing. Okay. We'll stop laughing.
That wasn't awkward. Yeah, she definitely wasn't paying attention to what was going on. It
Right.
seems like.
Do you realize how surrounded by shit he is on the show right at this point? I mean, he's trying to do a comedy show.
Yeah.
He's got his ex sitting there telling about everything he's doing wrong.
Yeah.
And then he's got this woman talking about, I don't give a shit about anything. I don't care if I died on his comedy show.
And by the way, Bobby's killing it right now. Bad Friends is like one of the biggest shows.
Yeah, him
They
with
do 1
Santino.
million views on every episode, just on YouTube alone. So they're killing it. And Bobby's a draw. He's a get. And the fact that he's still doing this with Khalyla, I'm actually a little bit surprised by. Because I don't think he needs it. I think she needs it more than he does. He's already got a huge show.
Yeah, I mean, his podcast is on my kid's radar, who's 12.
Right.
He's like, Bobby Lee's really funny. You know
Oh, yeah,
him?
yeah, yeah.
So
Bad
that's
Friends.
how popular it is. Yeah.
It's huge, for sure.
yeah.
So I guess he's doing this as a favor because, again, like you said, Bobby's a really nice guy. Khalyla's other show is going down and down and down. What's her show with the other two women? I always forget the name of it. I should know the name of it anyway.
Why would you think anyone here would know that?
Because you listen to Who Are These Podcasts, and we covered it a few months ago. No, I talk about it with my buddy Drew Lane, and he follows the numbers. He loves looking at numbers because he used to be, the ratings book guy on the radio. So he loves looking at the numbers. He's always looking at their numbers. He's like, Carl, they're down now that their average episode gets this many views, and it used to get this many. I'm like, all right, yeah, okay, that's cool. I'm glad he keeps track of that stuff for me. It helps me out a lot. Okay. So they're talking about, Bobby's telling the story. He's building Leslie up. She comes on. He's like, I got to tell this story. I tell it all the time. But I did this show with you at this amphitheater. This is like back in the early 2000s, it seems like. And there's 20,000 people there. And Bobby's going to do stand-up, but Leslie goes up before him. And he talks about how he cannot follow Leslie Jones.
So I switched the lineup.
I don't remember none of that.
I want to go after this person, not Leslie.
Yeah.
And it worked better.
Well, a lot of people started saying that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying you were a beast up there. You killer.
See, this is the thing though about that. It's so crazy because like if I was a man, it wouldn't be a big deal. It wouldn't be a big deal. Like it's just a big deal because I'm a woman, and that's the thing that drives me insane is because it's like. I can do the same work. I can do the same, be in the ditches and shit, but it's a novelty that I made it. You know what I'm saying?
Take the compliment.
Yeah, exactly. First of all, it's almost impossible to follow a sassy black woman. That's
true.
loud.
Yeah, that's a good
It
point.
is, and Bobby
It's a different
knows that.
energy,
It's
yeah.
a different energy, just screaming up there, and that's what she's doing. So he's like, we got to switch the order. It has nothing to do with her being a female. Zero.
Oh, but that's funny though, because first she goes, a lot of people say they don't want to follow me, which is a dick thing to say.
Yeah.
But then immediately she goes, but yeah, it's just because I'm a female. I mean, you wouldn't say that to me.
It has nothing to do with being a female. If a guy's hard to follow, he's hard to follow.
Right.
And that's it.
I've never seen someone turn a compliment into fuck the patriarchy.
I know. He was just trying to build her up to start the show.
It was seamless.
This could have gone such a different direction this entire interview, but Leslie is so pissed off at everyone.
She very clearly had an agenda going into
Yes, very clearly. And so,
Yeah,
which
you
is-
wouldn't expect it out of a woman, is basically what she's saying.
Right.
If it was a man, it'd be
right.
like,
It's
okay.
almost like complimenting her was the wrong thing to do.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
you know?
the greatest compliment you could get.
Yeah.
As a like,
I couldn't follow you.
Yeah, it's the best thing that anybody.
I mean, he
can
goes
say
on
to
this
you.
whole story about how he's panicking in the back room. He hears all this laughter going, and he's like, he doesn't want to go on stage. He's, I mean, that's how Bobby is. He's always neurotic and stuff like that. But he's going through this whole thing. It's like, Leslie sit there and be like, holy shit, I don't remember it that way, but that's incredible. That was a fun show. We did a bunch of fun shows.
Yeah, Bobby, you're a great comic. You can follow me. All right.
You were great too. Everyone loved you. I just got the crowd warmed up. Whatever. You can just say these things. But I'm glad it's real. I'm glad that Leslie's showing who she really is. By the way, Trash Tuesdays. Thank you, Ryan. I don't know why I can never remember the name of that stupid show. All right. So Leslie's now talking all about female comics and how they're all doing it wrong and she's doing it right. But fortunately, they're starting to figure it out now.
The women, they're starting to figure it out. I'm starting to see some that are figuring it out, but the women are not figuring out that they don't have to be women on stage. Like when you walk on stage, we know you're a woman. You got titties, ass, you look like a woman. If you're a woman, you're a fucking woman.
The irony here is that Leslie does not look anything like a woman. So I think it's funny that she's really keying in on looking like a woman.
I'm not going to lie to you, though. Like, what she's actually saying there is the only thing I agreed with her on in the entire interview.
You don't think that women should dress nice?
No, what I'm
when they
saying
go on
is
stage?
what she's talking about is how women make all their jokes about being a woman. She does say that, and I pulled the clip too, but I think maybe I pulled a little bit further past.
I mean, we can talk about Chappelle's material and how it's about being black. I mean, people find their angles and they go.
You always have to have your perspective, I know, but not every joke has to be that. You just have to be funny. And she's talking to a very specific group of female comics that happen to probably be at open mics. Well, I'm thinking.
I think you're off on this. You could be right, but only because she follows that up with talking about how to dress specifically. And how she used to dress.
I think that she probably brought this up because she walked on stage and people are like, oh my God, Gottfried's here.
Right.
And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm a female.
Like, I don't know. I feel like women are always like you're fighting against something that you producing in your head. Like I put it like this: when I first started performing, I used to wear skirts. I used to wear heels. I used to dress up. I used to do all of that.
Wow.
But I realized it was not playing against me, but it was playing against me because you have to be a real performer. You have to perform for everybody. So when I'm walking on stage and I'm dressed like that, that gives everybody the assumption that I think I'm the shit, especially in women's eyes. When I walk up, it's like, oh, this bitch thinks she cute. And then they look at their man and be like, oh, do my man think she cute? Does my man want to fuck her? So that's all going on with the first 3 minutes that I'm performing.
Yeah.
Nope.
So she was too hot for the stage. That was the problem with her high heel.
She has a point. Back in the day, it was like if you were a hot girl going on stage, you would get judged. The women right off the bat go, why is she dressed like that? There was all this jealousy going on. And if the boyfriend was laughing at her anal jokes, she would be so mad. The girlfriend in the crowd nudging him, oh, you like her? And there'd be a big fight on the way home. She's right about that. But in the last 15 years, comedy has changed. Girls are hot. They're up there in tight outfits and stuff like that, and no one cares. That's not on anyone's radar anymore.
They're up there plugging their goddamn OnlyFans page.
Right, exactly.
Well, yeah,
so it doesn't matter anymore. So this is 15 years ago, 15, 20
so this is
years
what's
ago.
currently happening reverse with Matt Rife? Is this what's going on right now? Is the guys are being brought onto the show like, oh, you think that guy's hot? Oh, you're laughing at that joke? Oh,
well, I mean, that happened with Dane because when Dane Cook broke,
true, yeah.
all the girls loved him and all the boyfriends got jealous. Like, I'm funnier than that. Fuck that guy. I'm funnier than him.
I just don't, I can't picture in my mind Leslie Jones dolling herself up to the point where someone's like, that's fuckable. That's the part that it just seems like a break from reality for me.
If there's no drink minimum at the club, it might happen.
You're right.
Yeah,
if it's free beers during the show.
Yeah, right. It was 10-cent beer night like in Cleveland.
She's reading the room all wrong, I think is what's going on here.
No shit. All right. So this is what she thinks that women should, this is the dress code that female comics should have.
That's why I always tell girls, t-shirt, jeans, tennis shoes. I'm not saying you can't look pretty. Please do not take that and say that. I'm saying it's like going to work. Like go to work, and don't concentrate on if you're pretty or not, or if you're. I can't. Does that make?
Do you see what I'm saying, Renee? She's not telling Sarah Silverman to stop talking about her asshole. She's saying, talk about your asshole with jeans and a t-shirt on. Be modest. Tennis shoes.
I think she's saying that because she's not that hot, so she's jealous
She's trying to
of
bring
these
everyone
young, cute
down,
girls going on stage. It doesn't matter what they wear. I work at the Stand in New York. Natalie Cuomo's on stage. All these girls, they're cute. Look at Nikki Glaser. She looks like a fucking model and doing great jokes. Males and females go to see her. It's not a problem. So she's talking 15 years ago.
Well, that might be part of it. She might be out of it a little bit as far as what's going on.
Yeah, she hates that there's a young, hot girl on stage, dressed nice,
Well,
looks
obviously,
good,
she's
looks
telling her not to
fuckable.
do that.
Yeah.
She's obviously doing
And
that.
then she walks
by
in
the
a
way,
room.
the makeup, spend more than 4 minutes on it, and I'm pissed. What are you doing?
Look, that's how you build up an audience now. You got to look good, especially
course.
for the females.
Especially
you get the males
because
out to the shows.
You're putting out clips on Instagram of your crowd work and shit. Like, you got to look good. That's a big part of this.
Yeah, presentation counts for a lot.
Right. So let's go with the low cut tops, ladies, and the short shorts. It's fine. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, sometimes it's warm out.
All right. There's weird advertising in this show, and by weird I mean where they insert it. And it might be difficult because no one ever really finishes a thought and then just stops. So it's just constantly they're just going and going and going. So the advertisement comes in while Bobby is mid-sentence.
Just put themselves out in a certain way, right? But I think that now, helix for your back and your sleep deep, deep.
It's odd, right? That they had to shove it in the middle of a sentence. And they were like getting into it. That came right after the part we were just playing, where they're going back and forth about women, comics, and how they're doing these things and all this kind of stuff. That just like interrupts them.
Do people normally go on Tigerbelly to be funny?
It is a comedy podcast.
Okay, I was curious if I was missing something subtle here.
Well, I think that's why this was suggested to us, is Leslie really came in and just had an agenda and was just going to say her thing and do her thing. Because as much as I dislike Khalyla, she's rarely talking on this show. It's dominated by these two because Bobby and her have a history.
Yep.
They did stand up together in the 90s when they were both making a name for themselves.
You won't hear that on my podcast because, when I say the word 7 times, I don't get a lot of advertisers.
You probably don't.
Yeah, so
right.
There's no plot where I got to put it in the middle of the podcast.
You don't call your advertiser and say like, all right, after the third, I think I'm going to put in your spot. Is that cool?
Should I put it in before or after the
Yeah, right.
Everybody's awful. Brought to you by BetterHelp.
BetterHelp. All right, so this is Leslie going off. This was the clip I played on the teaser last episode. Leslie going off on how to introduce her on a stand-up show. She gets very upset.
Like this, like I don't let men go. Do not fucking bring me up with no. Y'all ready for a female? Because I would fucking destroy you if I get on stage. Because it's just like saying, y'all ready for a female? Oh, you ready for a unicorn? You guys ready for a billy goat? You guys ready for an object that you've never seen before? Like you don't do that with men. Hey, y'all ready for a man? Y'all ready for, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's so infuriating. Shit like that, when you say, hey, y'all ready for a female, you are setting the precedence of like, hey, a bitch about to come up here and talk about dick or talk about me. And it was like, so get ready.
Yeah.
You about to hear a bunch of complaining. No, introduce me as a fucking comic because I'm going to whoop your motherfucking ass. Like, when I get on stage, when people introduce me as like that, I destroy them. Yeah.
I've been doing comedy over 30 years. Never, ever did I see an MC go, you guys ready for a woman?
Ready for a female
Never.
to come up there?
And the reason they go, you ready for a male, because there's never a show where there's 6 females and 1 male.
That's a good
Because
point.
there's way more male comics that do comedy than females.
They might say that about her because you don't know for the first 5 minutes.
You ready for, I don't know what this is?
Hey, guys, we have a female. Seriously, it's a female.
I'm not even lying.
But to be fair, though, we do live in the world of trigger warning, so it is nice that they're warning the audience.
Well, right. That's a good point. But don't you think she's reading into that just a little bit?
Yes, I do think that.
Like, that's her own hang up. That's going on in her head. That someone who says, like, hey, you guys ready for a female comic coming up? They're not saying, like, so they're going to be complaining. You know, they're always nagging us, those female comics.
That might have happened like a black club back in the day. The MC might go, all right, you guys ready for a female? Because you had 3 black comics come up in a row, males. So I get that. So maybe somebody said that, but, get over it. So what?
She's not over it.
I used to introduce Joe Matarese at the comic strip. I go, "Are you guys ready for this next guy?" I go, he's a Brad Pitt double. He's that good looking. And Joe, why did you bring that? I go, who cares? We're fucking around. There's 6 people in the audience.
Right, yes.
Always.
And you know what?
Last night after I got off stage, I'll give it up for Vinny, that fat fuck.
Right.
I go, he's my friend, but whatever.
It's funny you say that.
Thank you for the concern.
I've been listening to Joe Matarese's podcast, which is probably a bad thing for him lately. He never brings that up. He doesn't complain about the way he used to bring up.
He used to drive.
It's not a hang up for him.
I go, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just they're going to look at you. They know you don't look like Brad Pitt.
Erica Ann, member for 5 months, says, "What a great day. Vinny and Jim, love you guys. Love you, Erica Ann."
Did you hear her earlier when she said that female comics are always battling against something in her own head?
Oh, did she say that?
She did say that earlier in this interview.
Okay, so she's a little self-aware, but not really self-aware.
Exactly. That's what I was.
She knows that this is happening to other women. She doesn't realize that she's doing it.
Correct.
Herself. That's interesting. Okay. So now we get into naming names. And I thought this was interesting.
Yeah.
It was because a lot of men are very, I don't care, you fucking misogynistic motherfuckers are just very much like, and I used to tell people like, and again, I can't just get ready to throw names and shit out.
I throw names.
But I often used to tell Colin, I used to tell him a lot, and guys like Colin.
Yeah.
Comics like Colin, or not Colin, not just Colin. It's not just Colin who does it, but it's like they treat everybody like they're bitches. So when I say that, like you treat me like your bitch. I'm not your bitch. I'm your peer. Mm-hmm. So if I text you, you text me back. I'm not fucking you. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm texting you about business, you text me back.
Is she talking about Colin Quinn?
So I have 2 options here.
It's either Colin Quinn or Colin Joyce.
If it's Colin Quinn,
Joyce, yeah.
Colin Quinn doesn't treat her like a bitch. He treats everybody the same.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, it can't be Colin Quinn. I just knowing what I know about Colin.
Yeah, absolutely. He gets along with everybody.
Yeah.
He's nice to every comic. He'll sit with them for hours.
So could it be Colin Jost, who I could see being like, I don't really.
Well, they work together at SNL,
Oh, okay.
right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, sorry. He's fucking, what's her name?
I know.
Who's his wife?
I was trying to think of her name.
Scarlett.
Too. Yeah,
Scarlett Johansson. Yeah, he might be a little busy
he
eating a pussy.
Reply to that text message.
Yeah, Scarlett Johansson. Look, I'm going to give you a blowjob. I haven't given you one in a while. He's like, wait, I got to get back to Leslie Jones.
Right. Yeah. Before you empty my pants, hold on a second.
Oh, I know you want to show me your new lingerie that you just bought, but I gotta call Leslie back.
Hey, you think my tits are getting any bigger? Hold on, Leslie Jones just texted me.
Can you take some photos of me for the next fappening? I want to make sure this leaks from my iPhone. Hold on a second, I will, but there's more important things to do right now.
Okay, so it is Colin Jost. It's not Colin Quinn.
I don't know. She only says Colin, but that would be my assumption on it. So this whole thing now where she's explaining that people treat her like she's their bitch, and she goes into this a little bit more. The way I'm reading this, and I could be wrong, I don't have Leslie's experience, but I think that comics bust each other's balls, and they kind of treat everyone like you were just talking about with Joe Matarese.
Yeah.
Like you guys all bust each other's balls and have fun with it. They probably do the same thing with Leslie, assuming she's a comic. And then she takes that as an insult, like, what the fuck? Treat me like that? It's like, I'm just busting your balls.
It's that, and you don't have to, sorry, if it's business, I got to get back to you right away.
I know.
God forbid, like when Vinny picked me up today at the hotel, he goes, how's your day going? I go, it's not over yet. We're just busting balls. I'm like, that's weird. That's weird for a man to ask me how my day is going. It's just a little weird.
When Jim treats me like a bitch, I just no idea. Fucking asshole.
I'm not your bitch. Like I used to have to tell my brother that. Yeah. I used to be like, I'm not one of your bitches. I'm not one of your bitches. Like that's, you have to really sometimes tell men that, like, hey, I'm your work. Hey, we're peers. Yeah. I'm not your hoe. Don't treat me like your hoe. I used to,
but what I treated you always like a killer, though.
So this is,
I think he was afraid of her.
Oh yeah, she's twice the size of him. I'm sorry, bitch. Sorry, bitch.
So if Leslie texts me and says, "Hey, how's the comedy at the Carlson? I might want to do some clubs."
Yeah.
If I don't get back to her within like a couple minutes, I'm a fucking asshole.
Oh, you're treating her
I'm treating her like my bitches on the side.
But the fact that she said that her brother treated her like that too tells me that she's perceiving all of this. This is all in her head. If every single person treats you in a way that you see as disrespectful and misogynist, maybe it's you.
There's another person I know who really freaks the fuck out if you don't return their text message.
I know. Yeah, I was thinking that. I didn't want to bring it up, but
we'll get there.
8 text messages in a row from what I remember you didn't respond to.
Yeah.
So
sitting in this chair, actually, having PTSD. This is great.
So it turns out Leslie tells these stories about how she used to borrow money from all of the comics. She always needed money for rent, and she always needed all this stuff. And Bobby Lee was very generous and gave her money a bunch of times, and so did a bunch of other comics and stuff. And it was odd that she was constantly bumming money from people. You know, she's acting like she's being disrespected. It sounds like they were supporting the hell out of her. So then she's talking about, after she made it on SNL, she comes back out to LA, and she decides to just start bumping people at the store. She decides she can just go up there, hop up on stage, take someone's slot, or push them back. And people were annoyed with that.
I used to hang out with everybody. Everybody's like, oh, well, why are you doing it? It was such a big noise. I mean, till Bill Burr and Neil Brennan going like, yeah, she should call. What the fuck? She should call. And I'm like, motherfuckers, like it's kind of an advantage that I'm coming through. Do you say that to Chris Rock? Do you say that to Dave Chappelle? Like, no, for real. Like, I'm not saying that I'm those people, but it's not like some raggedy ass bitch coming through and doing some bullshit ass jokes.
Yeah. It was your time.
And I was funny.
What do you know?
Yeah,
It wasn't.
Who said that?
The fact that Bill Burr and Neil Brennan bitched about it tells me you did it wrong.
Listen, people got to do spots. Everyone has their time at 9:15 here, 10 o'clock at another club.
Right.
She comes in, does 45 minutes. Now they miss both spots.
Well, that was the thing. And I think I want to play this clip because she's like, everyone's complaining about this thing, but, this is what all the superstars do.
And she used to work at the club before she got famous. She used to work at the club. She has the contact. She knows how the avails work. Hey, I'm available this. That's all she had to do is even text the guy early in the day to book her. Hey, listen, I want to come in. Is there a spot for me?
In fact, later
instead of just walking in.
I'm sorry, later in the show, Bobby goes, well, you know what, Leslie, you probably should just text the guy and let him know. And she goes, oh, I do that now. Okay, so you do know that you were in the wrong if you've changed your behavior.
So why are we talking about it
on
my show?
Complaining about it.
Jesus.
After watching an interaction between the two of them, you cannot convince me that 15 years ago before SNL, whenever one of the big time comics came in and bumped it, she would sit there and have a fucking flip out, freak out attitude over it.
Oh, and
There's
bitch
no
about it for
fucking way.
weeks and months afterwards, I'm sure.
Exactly. Fuck that guy. They came in here. I had a spot and I missed my spot over there.
And that's kind of why she's doing it. Because it happened to her.
Yes.
And Bobby's going, yeah, but that doesn't make it okay. That person didn't do it to you.
I have the clip of Bobby saying this to her.
Yeah, well, let me play this first.
But that's the thing in LA. You can't get on stage that much in a night. There's only like 2 or 3 clubs. In New York, there's 9.
Yeah.
So you could do 6
hop on
shows.
The train and do a bunch of different shows.
So some guy at 9:15, Neil Brennan's doing a set, and then all of a sudden she comes in, and it's 10:30. She gets off stage. He misses a set.
Correct. Yes, and that's what Bobby was trying to explain to her.
So it was, and then I was always known for doing 20, 25 fucking minutes because I can.
See, that's the other thing, too. I mean, you were saying 45 minutes. How often, when you bump someone, don't you usually go up there, try out some new material for 7-10 minutes?
Yeah. And if she's saying 20, 25 minutes, it's 45, 50 minutes.
Right.
It wasn't 20 or 25.
That is so disrespectful.
No, it is.
I've heard of Seinfeld coming into the cellar and, all these crazy people showing up. They don't do an hour set.
Nope. Everyone comes in, does like 15 minutes.
Right.
That used to happen back in the day at the Comedy Store. Mm-hmm. The Carlsman C used to go up for like 2 hours and piss everybody off and shit.
Notoriously was a dick about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Chappelle, even when he would come to the Comedy Cellar back in the day, he'd go on at the end of the show. At 1 o'clock in the morning, he'd go on for 3 hours. There was nobody else going on. Yeah.
So it was very annoying because it's like, y'all only doing that because it's me or because I'm a female that's fucking can do that shit and it's fucking annoying. Like Whitney Cummings is one. Whitney told me, she was like, you got to start treating these motherfuckers like like you work with them. They're your work employee people. They're not your friends. You got to fucking really know that these people, fuck them. Like, like people going back to Emily, like.
I find it hard to believe that Whitney Cummings is like, you got to be more of a bitch to people.
Yeah. It's crazy.
The last advice I would give to Leslie Jones.
Do you hear how insane this is?
Yes.
Do not treat me like a bitch, but everybody else is my bitch.
Yes.
So if Bill Burr missed his set, he wanted to work on a new joke. He missed his set because Chris Rock came in, did an hour and a half. He wouldn't be mad because he's a male comic.
Right.
But if Leslie Jones came in, she's a female, misogynist, of course, because I'm a female. She's up there hogging the stage time.
And it's crazy, too, because she has to do these qualifiers. And I'm funny. I have funny jokes. I mean, based on what I've seen, I don't know if that's true. I've seen a lot of Leslie Jones, more than I want to. I don't know if that's true or not. Vinny, what's your clip of Bobby explaining this to her? Do you remember what number it is?
I do, actually. It is the part 2. I don't like this revisited.
Okay.
to something. You might get angry at this.
Oh God!
I'm not. I'm not.
People think that I'm always angry. No, I am like
not angry, but I think
I'm passionate and I'm loud.
I'm passionate too. I'm passionate too.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you a question.
And we use hands.
Yeah, we use hands a lot. Okay. So I want to say something. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So let just propose a question.
Okay.
But why can't you? Just hear me out. All right. Why can't you call in and then just hear me out and get a spot and say special guest, because Allie doesn't go up as Allie. She has a different name.
But that's what I do now.
Oh, you do it now?
That's what I do now.
Well, I think that's because what happens is when you're on a lineup and you're off to the side, there's a pop-in that you can go in at any of the side, which is fine. That's how pop-ins work. But it's like sometimes it just fucks up people's timing, because some people have 2 shows that night and they show up. They have a 9:15 show at the store. You go up, right? But then they have to be at the Improv at 9:45, and it fucks it up. So, I think doing it now
because I'm like, you're telling me something that I fucking did. Do you understand? I understand what that is. I understand having a show at the Laugh Factory and then wanting to have to come back and having to fucking wait for Dane Cook or Eddie Griffin or Dave Chappelle or whoever the fuck comes in there and do a spot. So yeah, I know that. Does that make sense? So I don't do hours like they do. I know. To do a spot. So
you give me a 2-minute fucking long clip here, Vinny?
Stop it! I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I must have fucked up the render. I'm sorry. But it's amazing that turned into, yes, again, I know what it's like. Right. I've dealt with it all, but I chose to do it anyway.
She came in guns a-blazing about why is anyone complaining that I'm doing this? And then she actively changed her behavior. Why not go in and go, yeah, I know, I was being a dick. I was big-timing everyone. I thought I was hot shit coming from SNL.
Dude, Hollywood fucking sucks.
No, right. And she was saying it's an honor. I made it. It's an honor that I come back here and go on the stage. Why are people giving me shit?
A blessing for the club.
Meanwhile, the Comedy Store sold out every night, all 3 rooms, constantly.
Well, that's the other thing, too. And I don't know LA that well. Every time I'm out there, I fucking hate it. But I've watched the documentary and stuff like that. Like, these people were at the time when the Comedy Store was going through a rough patch and they weren't selling a ton of tickets and it wasn't as good. And so now they think the club owes them because they were there working there when it wasn't what it is now. That's easily selling out all 3 rooms every night.
You guys weren't draws. We don't owe you anything.
Well, right. Yeah, exactly. Sorry you weren't David Letterman. All right. So this is funny because as she's talking about how she owes all these people money, it never occurred to her that she might pay these people back. So when she wasn't making a lot of money, she was borrowing all of this from all the other comics and everything like that. And then someone had to explain to her, like, well, now that you have money, maybe you should pay people back.
Well, she was, and she was borrowing probably from mostly male misogynist comics.
Right. You were giving her $1,000 at a time, as we find out from Bobby.
Right.
But that was the other thing she said, too. She goes, if I needed $1,400 for rent, I'd ask 14 people for $100.
Yeah. And sometimes they would give me 200, so I'd have a little extra. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She had it all down, right? Her grift. She had it down.
And at one point, she very, very argumentatively says, when I give people money, I don't expect them to pay me back.
Oh, I know.
Ugh.
I wish Leslie would call you asking to borrow some money and you treated them like a telemarketer. You treated her like a telemarketer. How much you got? I mean, I can give you 1,000. You just want to
No
meet
problem.
Up?
Yeah, let's meet up.
Fly to New
you
York.
need 1,400. I'll give you 2,800. It's 2 months rent.
2,800. Yeah. Can you meet me? I don't know, in the next hour or so in Manhattan? No. All right. This is her paying it back.
So one day I was like, and then Lenny was like, hey, yo, did you pay them people back that you borrowed money from? And I was like, holy shit. You know how you just don't, I swear, I was like, Les, like, yeah, it's no pay it forward, bitch, pay it back. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You can pay it forward, but pay it back. And I swear, it was more of like, I wasn't trying to disrespect nobody or not paying back. It was more of like, oh shit, I need to pay these people back. I didn't even fucking think that I owe people money.
It sounds like you don't give a shit about people.
Correct.
When you borrow money and then you make it and you forgot to pay them back, and Lenny has to go, hey, did you pay them back? Oh shit, yeah, fuck. I forgot about that. How do you forget about that?
How do you forget about
people that helped you?
Yeah.
Pay your rent.
No shit.
It's easy to forget about that when you're collecting network royalties and a paycheck every week, and you're living in another state now.
I looked it up. Do you guys know how much cast members on SNL make?
I'm guessing at least 200,000.
Probably 350.
Okay.
350,000.
It's between 15 and 25,000 an episode.
Okay.
Now, how many weeks they go, I'm not sure. I didn't look that part up.
20
but you guys are
something
probably
for their
right.
season, I think.
Yeah, it's probably so. Yeah, so it's probably in that range, 350, something like that. I mean, New York's expensive place to live. They had to party a lot, obviously, but I could imagine she could take some of that money and pay people back.
We're talking about $1,400 at one point for somebody.
Yeah.
She talks about how she went to Bobby 4 times for money, and the
Yes.
4th time he goes, "Listen, I don't have money to give you."
Right.
And she acted like it was a big lesson that she finally learned.
Yeah, I know. She goes, "Thank you for not giving it to me because I realized that I could get that money without relying on you." And Bobby goes, "Well, I just didn't have it at the time. Otherwise, I would have given it to you."
You made me broke.
Yeah, right. Exactly. All right. So, I think that kind of makes her a bad person, the fact that she didn't even think to pay people back. So then Bobby admits, I won't play that clip, Bobby admits that he was actively annoyed that she would go and bump people at the store and stuff like that because he's there working stuff out too. So then she's talking about her relationship with the Comedy Store and why she feels entitled to do that sort of thing.
Comedy Store is a hard place.
Yeah.
If I can tell you, for me, Comedy Store was like a home base. When my brother died, oh my God, it was where I went. I ate there. I've slept. I fucked there. I fucked a couple of times.
I fucked-
Can we please not talk about that? I guess I get the point.
Oh shit!
She fucked at the Comedy Store. What did she fuck though? Does anyone know what she's fucking?
I don't know what she meant by this. She went into some type of, like, she was using that as an example. I don't know what she meant.
Well, I think that she means the store owes her because she spent so much time there before she was.
We had to
before she made it.
reupholster things because of you. You owe us.
She's a liability.
Oh, can you imagine if she's a squirter? Oh, fuck it. Jesus.
That's gross.
We're down to 2 rooms for the weekend. 2 rooms.
Bobby just slipped it on his way to the stage.
This is the funniest set ever. All right, so this is more of Leslie loving to tell people to get fucked.
Oh, when I say that it's the funnest thing to be like, get the fuck out my face. Oh, do you know how many people that I've done that to, Bobby? Like, just been like, why are you talking to me?
Can you teach me how to do that?
Yeah, but
It's
can
not teaching.
Can I just
Fuck.
Can I throw one point of view? I don't want to get in a fight with you.
I love
know.
that Khalyla needs lessons on how to be an asshole to people. I'm like, nah, I think you got it. I think it'll be fine.
I also love how Bobby has to, at the start of every question, go, "I'm not trying to make you mad."
Oh, yeah.
He is terrified of her.
Terrified.
And it's not because she's a woman. It's because she's enormous. By the way, Missy B says, I'd rather hear about Stuttering John's shower routine than this beast raping a man. Sorry about that.
Can we talk
Missy
about his
B.
hemorrhoids some more? 'Cause
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I had to listen to it, so I made all of you listen to it. I apologize I put that image in your head. All right, back to this clip about how she loves telling people to fuck off, and Khalyla, being the boss woman she is like, oh yeah, I want to know how to do that.
Can you teach me how to do
Yeah, but
It's not teaching.
Can I just
Fuck.
Can I throw one point of view? I don't want to get in a fight with you.
I know.
I don't want to get in a fight with you, but I think I'm gonna scurry into the forest to see what happens.
Okay,
All right. So I have my flashlight. I've got my axe. Let me go in there. Right.
Okay.
So,
Put these-
but
Yeah.
But can it be on like Leslie? But before one makes it, there's so many comics in LA, right? And it's like they can't open their hearts to everybody.
Yeah. So that whole point, I should have set that up better, is Leslie's going, now that I made it, I love to come back and shove it in people's faces who didn't believe in me or didn't go out of their way to help me out when I was still an up-and-comer. And Bobby's like, I was an up-and-comer too, and you can't be nice to every fucking comic who hasn't made it yet. There's a lot of us.
Carl, that clip to me was insane.
Yes.
Because she was talked about everybody. Like, she sees these people that did her dirty.
Yep.
She'll just confront them.
Yeah.
And tear them apart. Like, she sounds like the most bitter person ever, and she's kind of successful.
Right.
Well, the thing
we know
is,
her
like, you know,
name.
when you first start, you're going to get treated like shit until you're the headliner and you could sell tickets, and everyone's going to, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So then you're going to go back, you know, I mean, there's a couple people could probably wronged you. You go, fuck that, I'll never work at that club again
Sure.
or whatever. But even like in Rochester here, when Mark had that other club, before he opened this one. He
Comedy
wouldn't
club,
use me
comedy
there,
club,
so I'd go to this other like hotel and do comedy there. I didn't hold
I saw you there.
Yeah, I didn't. But I didn't hold it against Mark.
Sure.
I didn't go fuck that guy. He didn't use me. Then he's like, hey, come on over to my club. I go, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But she's so. I mean, yeah. If she wasn't funny enough, how was she supposed to be treated?
Well, that is what
If
Bobby's
she's
trying
not
to
good,
explain.
if she's not good, how's she supposed to be treated? So
Right.
you're supposed to go out in the main room in the middle of the show on a Saturday night?
Yeah, and then she goes on to explain how respectful she was to everyone when she was on her way up. There's no fucking way, just based on what I'm seeing here.
You didn't pay anyone back. There's disrespect
she
right
wasn't
there.
being respectful to people. There's no fucking way. So I'm not surprised people treated you like shit because you're kind of an asshole.
How many agents do you go, hey, man, you meet with them? All right, look, you're not ready, so I can't really sign you. There's no room in the roster.
Sure.
Are you going to hold that against them forever? You weren't ready.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because that was one of the examples that Bobby brings up where he went to go meet with an agent who said, Bobby, you're never going to make it in this business. There's no roles for people like you. You're kind of weird. It's not going to happen. And then 8 years later, he's on Mad TV and he sees this agent and he's like, I didn't say anything to him. Like, I won.
So
I didn't have to say anything. Let's just like,
Right.
I would have fucking ran over there and smashed his face.
Carl.
It's like, no, you win. You made
Carl,
it.
you have to watch this clip. I'm begging you right
Yeah,
now.
what do you got?
She starts grunting angrily when he's explaining
Yes,
that.
yes.
Hold
okay.
on. It's,
I didn't pull that one. So
okay.
what do you got?
So Bobby has good perspective on that situation. Clip number 8.
Okay.
This is him explaining how he dealt with this guy. He hugged him
Yes.
and said even though he didn't sign him, Bobby did a favor to a guy who was his client.
Right.
And his client got something because Bobby did it, and he congratulated him on his client.
And as soon as I realized who it was, I know at that point I won. I don't have to say anything or do anything.
Watch her reaction.
And I looked at the guy, and he was like, hello. And I hugged him. And I go, hey, dude, congratulations on, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. No, wait.
If she's behind a fence, I'm not opening the door.
Now-
Like, making that face, that is scary.
Right by this, she has a different perspective, and she would have done it differently. Could you have my clip 9?
Of course you would have.
I respect.
That's all.
I respect.
I respect you too.
I respect how you handled it.
Yeah.
But
What would you have done?
drop kick that motherfucker. As soon as
Really?
I even realized his presence, I'd have been like, "Oh motherfucker, you like Chinese people now? You like us now, bitch? Now you like us, bitch?"
I don't know if that's a joke or not. Bobby's Korean, but
I know.
okay.
But it's so
I'm not sure if
fucking...
that's supposed to be a joke.
Enjoy my homeboy, son.
It seems like
You would've
everyone's
done that?
laughing out of fear.
Yeah, I don't think she's trying to be funny here.
Well, I mean, be loud, and then if you talk really loud, it's funny no matter
Sure.
what, even though you're not really saying funny things.
Yeah, it does help
That seems
sometimes.
how that
But-
works.
Pretty good formula.
Joking or not, I believe her.
Oh no, I
believe
believe
she
her
would've
for
confronted
sure.
that
yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Because everything she's saying, that's what she's saying she would have done. And Bobby, I don't know how you respond that way after Bobby goes, listen, I did this thing. The guy said I wasn't going to make it. I did anyway. I won. Like, yeah, that's it. That's all there is to it. You don't have to.
Life could be super simple and great.
Right. It doesn't have to be more comeuppance after that just to show the guy that he was wrong about that. So, Leslie, now this is a good segue into her talking about agents and managers, how she feels about them.
Like this, let me tell you, this business as a whole needs just a fucking rehaul of where agents and managers have the power that they have. They don't actually have no fucking power. They're fucking high-paid receptionists. And I'm sorry, you get the job. You get the job. You get the job. And they have to go through them to get to you.
Yeah.
And they're receptionists. And listen, I let my agents and my managers know, I don't work for you. You work for me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
You notice how she said her agents and her managers, she's gone through a lot of them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have a feeling.
I have a feeling she's gone through a lot of
It fires a
agents
lot
and
of
managers.
them.
And Bobby even says when he met with that agent all those years ago before Mad TV, he's like, yeah, so I talked to my manager about getting an agent. I still work with that manager today. So Bobby's one of these guys who's loyal, still work with the same people. Leslie's just the opposite.
It's amazing. Like, it's a very selfish mentality because a lot of the time when you have an agent or a manager, it's like a teamwork thing because, everybody makes money. You're all
Right.
working together if you're with somebody good. But the other part of it is, for her, she's a fucking idiot. She didn't have a pot to fucking piss in.
Right.
She gets SNL. She gets signed. Those people negotiate for her.
Correct.
Those people got her fucking Ghostbusters. Those people got her this stuff, and she treats them like shit.
I forgot she was.
It's just like, you know, a sports player. They all have agents because they don't want to deal with the ownership.
Right.
You know, so let the agent deal with it. You pay him 10%.
Let the agent be the asshole.
Right. Let the agent be the asshole.
Yep.
And then if they're saying bad stuff about you, the agent's not going to tell you.
Oh,
He's not
right.
working or whatever.
that's
You don't
a
want
good
to hear
point.
that. If you deal it direct, you know, so that's why. And it's a tax write-off, the 10%. So you write it off on your taxes. You paid an agent. It's worth it.
Well, you
I have an
probably
agent
make more than the 10% that you have to pay them based on their negotiations.
because they'll always get you more.
Right.
The comedy
Then you
clubs
would've got-
always want to go right to the comedian instead of the agent because they know to get them cheaper.
Yep.
So that's what they always do. So for her, she's got a name. Let the agent negotiate all that stuff. I'll
She's got
put
the
you in
wrong-
first
she's got
class.
the wrong attitude about everything.
Yeah,
in
you
this
could bring
business.
3 friends. I got 4 first-class tickets. You're going to stay in a 5-star hotel. Let them deal with that.
So Drunk Engineer says, "Hey, Missy B, can we get Anthony on here for a second to share his thoughts on Leslie?" And Missy
no.
B says, "I think we all know." I think it goes without
She's a wonderful person.
All right. So now we get into Leslie smelling her own farts. And boy, does Leslie like smelling her own
Well,
farts.
you can smell them from here.
She thinks she is amazing.
People don't understand that that is not something you can't copy. So many people have tried to copy what I do. They try to do you can't commentate because you don't know where it's coming from. It's coming from a real place. It's coming from a place of real passion.
People try to copy Leslie Jones?
There was probably, if I had to guess, 30 sassy black women that went on stage and told jokes before her.
Right.
So I don't know
So
what they're
she's
copying.
them,
Yeah,
or
right.
what's going on here? I'm not sure what she's talking about there, but she's very full of herself. She's like, I'm one of a kind. This all comes from a real place. No one else can copy this. And this is what I was talking about before when she says she came back to LA and she's doing the club a favor by showing up and bumping the comics who were scheduled to be on.
And that's what I'm saying, Bobby. So when I came home back, Comedy Store was my home.
Yeah.
So I didn't think it was a problem with me coming to do spots because it's like, hey, one of our own made it and she's coming back and blessing the fucking club because when I do spots, it's like Leslie Jones was there. Yeah.
She said it for all of us. Blessing the fucking club.
She squirted all over the room.
Oh, not again, Leslie! The janitor's like, oh, fuck. Leslie's back in town.
Is there still police tape around the place I fucked? They still haven't. It's still toxic.
Still a crime scene.
We can't get the cats to stop coming in.
We ran out of chalk trying to draw the outline. Vinny, what did I miss? You pulled a bunch of clips out here.
You know,
is there anything you want to play?
You did a really good job on the stuff that
Every
I
now and
wanted to hit.
again, I do a good job.
No,
out here.
you're the best.
I'm
dude.
happy.
Yeah,
to
what
be
are you
back
saying
on
by that? And that
WTP,
means that he
Vinny.
doesn't do a good job.
Yeah, I know what he's talking. I know what he's
Right?
saying. He
It
was
seems-
surprised. He seemed surprised by
Yeah.
it. You actually did pull the right clips, Carl. Yeah, no shit. That's my job, asshole.
You know, there's only one more clip I'll play. It's my number 6. And it was just, I was watching this and it struck me and I was like, I wonder if she might be bitter.
Oh, you would not believe the audacity of this business of some of the people that have walked up to me that have done real dirt shit. And when I say that it's the funnest thing to be like, get the fuck out my face. Oh, do you know how many people that I've done that to, Bobby? Like, just been like, why are you talking to me?
Can you teach me how to do that?
Yeah, we kind of hit that part, but
Yeah.
that blew my fucking mind when I heard that. I was like, you just enjoy
It's a horrible way
that
to live
kind
your
of
life.
confrontation.
Right. It's funny because they always talk about like be careful who you treat like shit on your way up because you see them again on the way down. This woman is just like, I'm going to treat people like shit both ways. I don't give a fuck. Let's go. Just seems like the wrong way to go about life.
Yeah, I really didn't know much about Leslie Jones.
Yeah.
I didn't know much about Khalyla, and I left.
Well, I know you loved the Ghostbusters movie. I remember you were ranting and raving about
You
it.
would not
so
shut
good.
up about it.
was
That
so
was
good.
it was a female Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's. I got it on DVD.
Oh, good. Did you bring it?
No, I didn't bring
We
it.
were going to watch football, but I'd rather watch that.
I
I
have
didn't.
a
I didn't even
copy.
open it because I know it's a collector's item. And if
You want
I-
to get it signed?
Yeah,
right.
yeah. If I ever get it signed, I don't know if I should open the plastic because it's going to be worth less. But if I run into Leslie, I'm going to have her sign it.
What you got to do is you got to open it up and pull out the sleeve and get him to sign that and put it back under the plastic. But, Carl, I have a copy in the car. So we'll be
Good. All right. Very good. I'm
We'll be
excited.
Who are these podcasts?